A culmination of design refinement for years of nailing performance, and finally the auxiliary of unwanted trends is what leads you to the company's fifth flagship in row, the OnePlus 6. The entire review can be summed up in a single word: majestic. Everything ranging from the new glass build to the design aesthetics, the OnePlus 6 is probably one of the more unique and pleasant phones to hold. Anyway, following is my take on one of the most hyped smartphones of this year. Let's change things up than the usual and get over with the part I feel is the most boring to talk about smartphones these days, and that's the cameras. I'm the last person you should look up for judging cameras on a smartphone, but I'll tell you one thing. For the price, you can't go wrong with this dual lens setup on the OnePlus 6. Images are sharp, nicely saturated, dynamic range is spot on, and even the low light output is pretty respectable. The second shooter has been aided specifically for portrait shots, and coming from the OnePlus 5, I really don't think it's gotten that much better. The front camera is surprisingly quite sharp, and all in all, this all makes up for a good Snapchat phone in general. Video is capped at 4K 60 FPS, which is I guess the norm these days, and you can stop that down to 240 FPS at 1080p, which is amazing. The display is this 6.28-inch massive beauty of a notch-approved AMOLED screen, and it really is a wonderful thing for being a 1080p panel. Reachability is 100% an issue since the notification panel is literally stretched to the top corners of the display, and this really isn't well thought out, especially when you contrast it side by side with the splendid Oxygen OS and just the way OnePlus handles its software side of things. While there are no super stock elements, I actually prefer it this way, it's slightly modded for the benefit version of Android. The model I have right here is the 8128 variant, and yes, I've said it before and I'll say it again, 8GB of RAM in a smartphone is overkill, but some might really prefer the extra storage given the omission of a card slot. Performance is top notch, gaming has never been so immersive, and even the battery life is near perfect, topping over 6 hours of usage every time. I doubt you'll ever need the charger before bedtime, but even if you do, Dash Charge comes into play with the insane top-up speeds. So up till now you've heard quite positive stuff about this phone. What about the cons or deal breakers? As for deal breakers, no, there aren't any, at least not for me. But this phone seems to be quite a compromised piece of tech from a company that's been so loyal to its fan base. First up, the speaker is downright garbage, super low at even the max volumes, not to mention incredibly simple to block while consuming content in landscape. The glass back is pretty weird, definitely the most slippery I've ever used, and the fingerprint scanner is... what? The speed and accuracy is what you'd expect from a flagship, but I've still not gotten used to the odd shape and I constantly keep on hitting the cameras or the flash. The buttons aren't the clickiest, especially coming from the 5 and the 5T, which have incredible ones, and the alert slider is now up on the right side. I don't know why. All of these cons are basically me nitpicking the flaws I could find, because really this is a phone you'd have to carefully analyze for potential deal breakers. Everything else about the phone screams quality, and in my opinion the 664 variant is a no-brainer given the price tag. For me, the performance, the price and Dash Charge are three of the most highlighting factors in being convinced to buy one of these. What do you guys think about this major iteration, and do you think they'll really settle with this? The company's been a little aggressive of lately with major advertising joints and stress on stuff that its fanbase clearly isn't asking for, but at the same time try finding another OEM willing to promise all of these Android updates at this price. Like it or not, this is OnePlus and this is the 6.